Hello Bishes, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to do one of those recap type of videos where I can just think of something off of the top of my head and just list them out. And the video idea for today is 100 things I have learned so far as a full-time artist. So for those of you who are new here, hello, my name is Michelle, and my background as an artist so far is I've been working in the animation industry as a storyboard artist who has also dabbled in writing and assistant directing for pretty much the past 4 years now. And previously I attended CalArts to learn animation in general for pretty much 4 years of my life, where we had to produce 4 student films for the 4 years we were there. And then in addition to that, I have been in the midst of publishing a book, and my experience in that has been around 3 years so far in terms of working on a book, and I'm just waiting for my book to be published now. So check out MEESH the Bad Demon, which you can now pre-order online when it comes out in March of 2023. And then lastly, on top of that, I've been pretty much running and creating content for my social media accounts on my Instagram and on this YouTube channel, where I create comics and videos pretty much showing the behind the scenes of my life as an artist. So take that with what you will when I describe the things I've learned as an artist, because this is again what I have personally learned from my experiences thus far, which is of course going to be different from a veteran who has been working for pretty much 30 to 50 years of their life during a different era, and it's also going to be different from somebody who just newly started like yesterday. So yeah, anyway, just to be real, there's no way I'm going to remember 100 different sentences off the top of my mind, so I did write them down on my phone, which I will be speaking off of. And I also categorized the things that I'll be talking about so it's not like all over the place. And those categories will be general, the craft, work, health, social media, and motivation. So there's going to be 6 different topics that I will be talking about, so that when I list these things, there's sort of still some theme going on. But yeah, without further ado, let me just tell you 100 things I've learned so far being a full-time artist. Okay, so the first topic of my list is in general. So I'm just gonna speed right through them because there's 100 things to get through. So 1, your art does not define who you are, and you are not your art. You can't create your best art if you don't go out and live your life. Most art is subjective. The idea that artists do not make money is false. You have to create art outside of your comfort zone consistently in order to improve. Remember to still create art you enjoy and indulge in your guilty pleasures. Exposing yourself to diverse places and people will allow you to create more diverse art. Show other people your work and see how they react to it or perceive it, because you're the one who has been looking at it for so long you probably have a clouded vision. Be clear with what your art's intentions are, because if no one understands what's going on, they won't care. The execution of the message behind your work will often be more important than how things aesthetically turn out. Art is just another form of communication, and your choice of medium is how you choose to say it. The great thing about being an artist is that anyone can be one, and you don't need to have it as your job title to reflect that. When you're a beginner, the hardest part about creating art is the execution. When you're more advanced, the hardest part about creating art is coming up with the ideas and communicating them clearly. Creating art is honestly not always going to be fun. Your best work is usually from what comes natural to you, aka your gut. Sometimes art is just honestly better off left as a hobby. So the next section is going to be for the craft. So this section usually is just going to talk about like specific things in the technique of creating the art physically that I learned. The best way to improve drawing is to consistently go out and observe and draw people in physical environments. Sketches usually look better than your final art because it focuses more on the original energy intended for the work. Final art usually looks stiffer because you have a tendency to match the original sketch more so than the original energy you wanted for your piece. If you want to draw faster, zoom out to make the canvas smaller and you can refine the details when you zoom back in. If you want to improve on drawing a certain subject, keep a sketchbook where you only draw that one thing every day for 30 days in that sketchbook. Use videos and pause on frames to practice drawing people in motion. It's okay to use references and trace over images if you provide credit to the original artist. Drawing directly with pen will help you draw with more confidence over time once you get all of your bad strokes out. Reading and watching tutorials will only help so much. The improvement comes from the actual consistency of drawing and practicing. Things that are further in the background of a drawing or scene usually are smaller in scale, lighter in opacity, and if you want to make it feel really far, you can make it blurry. Things that are closer to you are usually larger in scale and more opaque in opacity. Cameras and angles in a scene should be used to evoke an emotion or intention and not always just moved around just because. Creating subtle, nuanced acting in a character can sometimes be harder than the most dynamic action scenes. Mediums that give you the most control are pencil, pen, marker, charcoal, colored pencils, crayons, digital art, and sometimes oil paint, acrylic paint, and gouache. Mediums that give you the least amount of control are watercolor. And then next is the topic of work, which is kind of like being an artist employed at a studio, freelancing, or like the act of actually working for a client or somebody else. The quote, "Work a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life," is false. Just because you're an artist doesn't always mean you can live creating just anything you want and love. If you are an artist in animation or some other niche, if you have a union, you should join it to make the most out of your work benefits and rights as an artist. You should be able to discuss your rate amongst your peers to make sure you or your peers are being compensated fairly. You will most likely make more money the more projects you hop around with shorter hiatus periods. Always aim higher for your next rate that you negotiate. You shouldn't keep all of your eggs in one basket. The hype of working for a big name studio or company dies very quickly. Your name, brand, and skill level as an artist matters more than the studio title on your resume. Despite having strong art skills, your ability to understand the intent of your project or assignment and showing that you understand it matters more than the aesthetics of your work. Honestly, just be really good at playing a game of telephone. It's easier to move up at a smaller studio than a big studio. Studio perks are honestly just golden handcuffs. Never stay loyal to one studio or employer. Being a leader is not for everyone, and it doesn't always mean it's better, and it can vary from project to project. Your portfolio should include range and variety to show people you are capable of many things. But also do not include things in your portfolio you wouldn't want to be hired to work for. Always have 3 to 5 good examples of artists, films, books, etc. who inspire you prepared for interviews. You most likely will not need a degree from a United States art school to get a job in an art field unless if you're an international student. Your passion for art is separate from your job title at a studio or project. Studios can be sneaky with creating responsibilities that are not originally listed in your job position. Storyboard artists are not and should not be doing the jobs of animators or editors. Ways you can make money as an artist is through working a full-time studio job, freelance work, teaching, commissions, YouTube channel, sponsorships, online shops, Patreon, Gumroad, Webtoons, and pretty much anywhere people can place an ad or affiliate link with your work. And then moving on to the next topic, which is health, because that is important for us as humans, because artists are humans, and these tips might as well just go for anyone else working in any other job or field. One of the best stretches to do is to literally flail your arms and back open, because hunching over a tablet screen adds stress to your shoulder and chest area. So by that, I mean literally going like this. But of course not in the air. Usually you would have a yoga ball or something to lean on in your back that you do that with. Exercising will give you more physical and mental energy to keep going in the long run and give you a creative reset. Doing ab workouts and stretching will help with back pain that develops from sitting at a desk all day. You are technically supposed to be giving your eyes a break from the computer screen every 20 minutes, but honestly, let's be real, I don't do it, but I know I should. Going on long walks will not only help with your physical health, but help you with mental clarity. It's normal to be anxious when presenting your work. Invest in a stand desk so you are not sitting at your desk the whole day. Do thumb touches to help relieve stress on your wrist and hands. So that's an exercise where basically you keep doing this and you just keep going backwards and forwards. But when you do this, you want to like actually exert force in your fingers and not just be doing like little tip taps and whatever. You just want to really be like shoving that finger on that other finger. Remember to take moments to breathe deeply, because half the time we're at our desks, we take short, shallow breaths, which is not allowing our bodies to make the best use of our oxygen. And for females, your groin and hip area is the first place that stress will go to. So do stretches that specifically open up the hips, like the pigeon. Stay hydrated, because a dehydrated brain will not be allowing you to perform at your most optimal state. So sometimes whenever I just have creative block, I just put the image of a very shriveled up brain in my head, and that motivates me to just take a break, drink some water, and usually I will feel a little bit more motivated than where I last left off. To contribute to brain health, foods containing omega-3 such as salmon, fish, nuts, and seeds can also help your brain performance, because you need that organ to create stuff, you know. It is healthy to dissociate yourself from your art, your work, and your projects from time to time. Setting a clear end time daily and leaving ample room for relaxation from your work can help prevent burnout. So next, we are moving on to social media, which, you know, is such a big deal nowadays, so we might as well incorporate that in the things that I've learned as an artist as well. So having a social media platform with a good number of followers will most likely increase your discoverability and expose you to more opportunities, because you make it easier for people to find you. Do not be too hasty or pressured to post things regarding political or sensitive topics just because other people are doing it, as it can sometimes lead to misinformation. Always leave a watermark on your work, because you never know who could be out there stealing or reposting, which has happened to me many times, sadly. Save time lapses of your art creation to repurpose as videos or other posts you can share. If you have a carousel post on Instagram, the first image you should have should catch your audience's attention if you want them to scroll through the whole thing. Drawing pretty girls will most likely do well. Drawing relatable comics will also do well. Finding a way to create one piece of art that could have multiple purposes on different platforms will save more time than creating a type of art for each platform. Having a strong theme or brand on your platform will make it easier for people to decide if they want to follow you or not. Fan art is a good segue for an artist with barely any followers to grow some. If you don't have a strong social media platform, try to promote your work in online community forums such as Reddit and Facebook groups. Art tutorials and teaching art techniques on social media do better, because you're providing more direct value to your audience. Numbers on social media do not always define an artist's skill level. Some of the best artists I know out there have like less than 100 followers. It's like with photos, people sometimes only share their best work and don't always show the behind the scenes. What an artist show on their platform does not always reflect the full scope of work they're capable of doing. Okay, and then lastly, is motivation, which is basically things that I honestly just keep in the back of my mind whenever I feel discouraged or down about my work. So this is kind of just more of like a motivational list of things to just remember. You should keep a list of every idea that comes up in your head so that when you are out of inspiration, you can refer to the list and just execute on one of them. Done is better than perfect. Your best ideas will most likely come up when you step away from making art. One of the best ways to keep consistently working on your art is to leave work that you already started to be continued on the next day, so you remove the pressure of starting from scratch. Fail faster, make bad art faster, so you can get closer to creating your better work. At the end of the day, everyone is worrying about their own lives and don't even care about you, so you should feel liberated enough to create whatever it is you want without fear of judgment. You should keep one sketchbook for the sole purpose of creating bad art so that you can get it all out of your system. Some people are better at chipping away on a project, taking one little step per day, while others are better at sprinting through a bigger task all at once. Your skill level is not always what will gain you popularity as an artist. Setting your goals in quarters of the year is more efficient than creating goals for just the whole year in general. Your best art is probably going to come from the pieces you put less time, energy, and thought in. Sadly. Always have a few ideas, alternatives available so you don't overly commit too far into one idea. Remember that your art will probably look better once you take a step away from it and look back at it later. Being anatomically, physically, and technically correct does not always mean your art is better. You can create the most amazing piece of art in the world, but just remember that not everyone might like that style of work, and some people just don't care about art. Having a social circle that is composed of people other than artists will help you healthfully disengage from your artist identity more. It's okay to give up on art if you realize that it's not what you want to pursue. It's okay to change your mind and come back to visit art later in life. And lastly, don't be worried about not having a consistent style, because having a variety of tastes will give you greater range. Anyway, those are 100 things that I have learned so far in my life from being a full-time artist. And considering the fact that I've pretty much been drawing ever since I can remember holding a pencil, like when I was maybe 5 or even less than 5 years old, I've pretty much been like an artist my whole life. So yeah, I hope this video kind of inspired some of you and just kind of gave you just the sentences you need to hear, you know, because sometimes when you watch a video, people are just talking, blah, 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 and then they'll say that one juicy piece of information and then there's more just blubber happening, and I just wanted to make a video where I just say all of the juicy sentences in one video. But yeah, anyway, it was kind of fun to just go back through memory lane and see some of my older videos again. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this inspired you, and maybe it makes you feel better about getting back and creating art if you took a break from it or something. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. So peace out and stay wholesome, dishes.